Hey everybody, happy to close out the show here with you guys and Ian, who's got some really great experience to talk about in terms of what he's done in his career and some of the amazing places he's done that really impact the way that he thinks about customer experience. We'd love to hear a little bit about that. Let the audience know where you've been and what you're doing.
Great, thanks. I was inspired by Bethany yesterday, who showed that video. I don't have an MBA star in my video, but I have a little mini deck that I put together. So it's a lot of mostly pictures of me, but there's also some Anthropologie videos in here. But what I wanted to start with, that's not the right slide. Here we go. What I want to start with is my background. My background has really been real life experiences. I worked for a company called Backroads. This means working for Backroads. When I was in graduate school, I got a summer job. I was doing a degree in international development economics, and instead of getting a normal summer job that people doing economics degrees would get, I got a job leading bike tours in Nova Scotia. And then I graduated, and they offered me a job designing bike tours and hiking trips in Europe, and I thought, that's so much, kind of international, but so instead of pursuing economics, I ended up spending 7 years kind of on the road. And this is a great example. I love this picture because I'm wearing a skirt, but also because this is a trip I led in Scotland, and it was the last night of our trip. And one of our clients, we're actually working with the sort of tall, redheaded fellow there. His name is Wally Bruce. So everyone thought he was Scottish Bruce. Wally Bruce, actually from New Zealand. But at one point in the middle of our trip, one of our clients sort of joked and said, "Hey, the last night of this trip, we're at a castle. Are we all going to wear kilts?" And so Wally and I said, "Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't we wear kilts?" So we called up a kilt rental shop in Glasgow. We arranged for them to drop them off. We all got up, dressed up in Scottish Highland formal, and we had dinner. And from that, the whole idea of building experiences that customers remember. And that was really the thing at Backroads that we tried to do. Whether you knew you were signing up for, in this case, a hiking trip in Scotland, or you were signing up for a bike trip in Tuscany, or a castle trip in the Loire Valley. But it's all those extra things that aren't necessarily as clearly articulated in the itinerary. We're going to go into the wine cellar or the cave of a Vouvray producer and meet the guy whose grandfather first planted the vines and now he's making wine. He's going to tell us how he did it. We're going to wear Scottish formal for our dinner at the very end. We're going to go hiking on a glacier above Chamonix in the French Alps, and we're creating these memories that at the end people go, "Hey, I had a good vacation. I got some exercise. I didn't get quite as fat as I would have if I'd gone to an all-inclusive resort in Mexico, but I have these memories of the experience." So I worked for Backroads for 7 years. I took a year off in the middle where I led a bunch of treks and a couple climbing trips in Nepal. Then I worked for a company called Trek Travel that did the same thing for another 4 years. And eventually then shifted to cycling. So again, how does that relate to Anthropologie? We'll get there. But I worked for cycling companies. I worked for Trek in Madison, Wisconsin. I worked for Specialized out in San Jose, California. And I did the same thing. We were building customer experiences that allowed people who bought our bikes to meet our athletes, to ride their bikes, to come to the races, to do the events, with the idea that if we can create and continue to build a positive cycling experience, customers will come back and buy more bikes, right? It's very, and the idea was, and that's kind of why I asked about events and ROI yesterday. It was really hard for us to put ROI against what leading a 40-mile bike ride from a shop out of South San Jose meant in terms of future sales, right? Is that person going to come back and buy a new helmet tomorrow? We don't know. We don't know. So for a long time, I worked in cycling, and I transitioned to North Face. That's where I started really moving into data and analytics. I ran a program at Specialized called Specialized Riders Club. It was like our own independent social network for connecting customers. This was back when everyone was like, "Oh, Facebook is cool, but we can design our own social network," and it didn't really work. But what we got was a database of 250,000 specialized bike owners who wanted to interact with other cyclists. And so I moved to the North Face because they asked me to create their loyalty program. It was called VIP at the time. Now it's called Explore Pass. If you've ever seen me at one of these brand innovator events before, I probably talked about it. But it was the same idea. And what we started with in terms of loyalty was we will collect customer data, we will then track your spending, and we will give you money back and invite you to come on our experiences. What we realized was that this really became this sort of foundation of our customer understanding, right? We had all of this additional data, and instead of looking at it as an email collection device so we could send you more emails, it became this experience-based data collection opportunity to say, these customers came to an event in New York with a professional runner. These customers signed up for a rock climbing trip. These customers told us they wanted more content about hiking, camping, and I don't know, mountaineering. And that's sort of how I moved into analytics. It was because I built these programs and then realized we had all this data, and I was like, no one's doing anything with any of this. Let's start looking at how we match up behaviors to product. And so instead of, and this is where we are today with Anthropologie, but instead of looking at what you bought a dress from Anthropologie, therefore we're going to recommend a belt, some shoes, and a purse, because they go with that dress. What we wanted to start doing was saying, you are the type of person who goes to museums, who goes out to eat, who goes on vacation. We're using additional data against your behavior to then predict the product that you would like and use for that activity, and not just focus on, if you bought this dress, this belt goes with that dress. Because I think, and I've seen this in Anthropologie, our customers know that already. And for the most part, they already know what belts go with what dresses. They know what shoes they want. And so we're providing some level of reinforcement there, but the analytics, and so taking sort of my path, this is a really long answer to like, how'd I get here? But taking my path from like completely in real life to now very digitally, it's been about how do we sort of build and reinforce customer experiences and not just present product and say, you want this product. It's more like, we want you to have the feeling, just like Backroads. I guarantee you, that guy there who we got a kilt for probably went on 10 more Backroads trips after that, because he was like, this is the best vacation I've ever been on. I never expected this. We want to do that same thing with the work that we're doing in Anthropologie, that as we show product to customers, we want them to say, I did not expect this, but I kind of love it.
Awesome. And then the last thing, we're talking about some of the amazing things that you've done in terms of creating a really strong customer community and experience. Can you talk about some of the things you've done that you're pretty proud of?
Here's some more pictures of me, actually. You know, I going back to North Face and some of the work that we're doing in Anthropologie that kind of mirrors that. I really love that we are focusing on building experiences that don't have like hike on Sunday, shop on Monday type of mentality. That we're doing experiences that aren't just come to the store, and if you come to the store, you get 15% off your purchases today only on the product we show you. That we are thinking about how do we continue to build sort of brand momentum and brand engagement in real life, so that when a customer thinks, in the case of Anthropologie, customer thinks, I need a new dress, sweater, pants, I'm going to an event. They don't think, I'm going to go to Google and put dress for wedding. They think, I'm going to start at Anthropologie, and that's going to be my starting point. And so we're really reinforcing that. And the work that we're doing right now that I think I'm probably most excited about is that we are starting to introduce new categories and really take over the design, a lot of those categories. Things like swim, fitness, athleisure, resort wear, sleep, intimates, getaway. Products that we've sold for a long time, but that was a really small part of our business. We're starting to, the data that my team, and some of them are here, have kind of provided back. Our customers are absolutely buying that. They're not buying it from us. In some cases, they're not buying it from us because they don't even know we sell it. But as we've elevated, one, the opportunity to buy it, and we've shown that, and customers are responding positively, we're starting to make more of that ourselves, and it allows us to really put our own. We don't have to carry just other brands. We can design that ourselves and really put our own Anthropologie uniqueness on it. And that's a way for us. Yes, obviously we're a business. We want to sell more product. We want to make money, but that we are not just selling another dress, another sweater, another pants. Oh, you bought 3 Colette pants? Buy another one. It comes in a new colorway. What we want to say is, we have product that you're buying anyways. We're pretty sure you'd like it if you bought it from us.
Awesome. I know you said it's hard to measure ROI. How are you getting feedback from the customers? Are you doing surveys? Can you quantitatively tie any kind of their actions? How do you know if they started Anthropologie instead of searching on Google?
I mean, so yes, we had a massive amount of feedback actually. So now, we just started a new year. Our fiscal year technically ends at the end of January, but a lot of our tracking we look at from a calendar year, and we got over 1.2 million pieces of transactional feedback, like customer post-transaction, and about another 150,000 delivery feedback, experience feedback, store feedback. So we have more than 1.3 million survey respondents that customers have told us, and of those, about a third of our customers included some level of commentary. That's a lot of 350, 400,000 customer comments. It's a lot of. We'll talk about AI a little bit later, but that's like one of our big AI challenges is there's not enough human beings in our whole office, let alone on my team, to read all those comments. So how do we look at that and say, our customers love to tell us what they want, what they liked, what they didn't like, what they want differently. And so one, we have this huge pool of feedback on the shopping experience, whether it's in store or online. And then secondly, we have a huge pool of reviews, and so we can take both of those and match back. One of the things we're using AI for today is to start to collection those into product categories, because certainly we can do them by store, right? A store manager can read 20 reviews a week. That's pretty reasonable, or 200 a month. That's pretty reasonable. A product manager can read 200 reviews every couple weeks on their product, and we're starting to say we've got feedback from really multiple sources here on what the customers think about the shopping experience, the product. The challenge for us, and this is sort of where we're going to get into the AI, is that our customers will tell us about why they bought the product, and honestly, in some cases, it's like why they didn't buy something else. So all of a sudden, we have 2, 3, 4 paragraphs of recap on, I bought a Somerset dress, I really love it, but I had to buy a Somerset dress because I bought a bow dress and the sleeves were too long. And then I was going to a wedding and I realized that I needed a dress for this, but I also was thinking about shoes. I wish you carried shoes that went with this dress because it's a brown dress and you don't really have a lot of brown shoes. So all of a sudden we're like, wow, this is 3 pieces of feedback in one commentary that we can really action on. And some of it is like, the stores, we get feedback that says your store's too cold, your store's too hot. I hate the smell of the candles in your store. I love the smell of the candles in your store, right? Like wading through that. But also, if this is a big tool for us, and again, like 1 million surveys a year, that's a huge opportunity for us to get data directly from our customers and impact what we build next.
Are you seeing a lot of opportunity with AI to synthesize things like that and bubble it up? Do you see other places that you see AI ML impacting in the near future? It seems to be the buzzword.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I know I'm like, my deck is completely disjointed, but I do have a video. I'll just show it at the end. I think for us, there's been a lot of talk about how many people is AI going to replace? And in our case, no one. It's not going to replace, but it's going to allow us to do a lot more that today we simply don't have the bandwidth or the human capacity to do. 350,000 reviews is a great example of that, where you might probably have to hire 3 more people just to read those every week and then sort them and email them out or send them out or create a way to disseminate that information. And we have a pretty basic AI on there today that separates it out into sentiment: positive, negative, very positive, very, very negative. Someone reads the very negative comments, but as we think about kind of this vast collection of data, we're pretty good at transactional data. We are direct to consumer. We own 200 stores in the United States, about 10 in Canada, about 20 in Europe. We have a $1 billion e-commerce business. We don't sell anywhere else. You can't buy Anthropologie at Nordstrom. You can't buy Anthropologie through Amazon. We don't have outlets. And so we control all of our own distribution. And so, we're collecting data on more than 5 million customers a year, and that's our whole complete selling set. So as we think about transactional data, we've got all this transactional data. Where my team is really starting to look, and that's where AI I think is going to help us, is just the vast amount of additional digital behavior that's out there. And as we get better at tracking, you were talking about MMM. This is a great example for us of as we've moved into GA4, we're starting to look at customer browse behavior across devices. We're starting to look at where the customer started, what they looked at, what they put it in cart, what they bought, how long it sits in their cart. We have all this data today that we had in the past, but it was really hard to pull it all into a single customer profile. Now we can do that. And what I'm most excited about AI is traditionally we've taken that behavioral data and we've hired a data scientist. They've built a model and we have an algorithm, and that usually, we take 2 years worth of data and we train the algorithm, and then we test it against another year of data, and then we run that algorithm for like 18 months until it doesn't seem to work very well anymore. And then we do that whole operation again. Like, I think we can do it every week. I think that if we can start to build this, if we can start to use AI to start to pull in what are the most relevant pieces of data, right? If you put a shoe in your cart and didn't buy it, it's in your cart, right? There's nothing worse than you putting a boot, and I don't know if Nordstrom's in the room, but they're like super guilty of this. You put a boot in your cart, and that boot follows you around the internet for a month. You're like, I know the boot's in my cart. I didn't buy it. I don't want that boot. I'm thinking about the boot, but I left it in my cart because your wish list kind of sucks. So you've got this boot in your cart. How long is that piece of data really relevant? And yes, we do remarketing. Yes, it works. But is it really going to work 3 weeks from now? Whereas if you put a coffee table in your cart, you might be cross-shopping. You really want that coffee table, but you're cross-shopping for everything else that goes with it. Coffee table in your cart might be valid for 3 months, right? How are we starting to learn from that? And that's where I think AI can do things that again, we can't build an army of data scientists. We don't know how to retool these models every 18 months, that we can start to say, this is a relevant data point for one type of product and one type of customer, and it's not a relevant data point for the other type of product or the other type of customer. And that's something that I just don't think we could do with human beings alone.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. I think we went from not having enough data to having too much data. It's humanly impossible. At Contentsquare, we capture session replays. We can record a customer session, and you can watch it back. You can't watch back 3 million sessions. So now we're using AI to synthesize that session and give you a summary that we can plug into other tools and activate against it.
But I think that's a really great example, because if a customer fills out one of our post-transaction surveys, said, I tried to check out on PayPal, your PayPal button doesn't work, your website sucks, we can go back, if we had Contentsquare, but we could go back and look at that individual session and be like, Joan Smith said this didn't work, let's watch it.
Right.
And then we can say, oh, you're right, it didn't work, let's see if we can recreate it. Or, oh, she was doing it wrong. But either way, when you have 3 million sessions, how can we start to look at that level of behavior and say, hey, we can now categorize customers on the tactic they're most likely to come into the website from. Do we have customers who engage with social, come to our website from social, but never buy, but then actually buy when they come from email? And is social plus email the right combination for you? But maybe display is the right, and remarketing is the right combination. You like to come to our site, put stuff in your cart, and then get reminded about it. And you back there, like TikTok, and that's the way you come into the site. And we start to say, hey, we're categorizing the customer's entry point by which tactic they're most likely to engage with. We can also start to classify customers by the behavior they like on the site. And as we start to think about site personalization, it's not A or B or C. It's actually A and B and C and D and E. And we can do all that. And so there's all of this data out there that we've got somewhere. It's sitting on your server. It's in our Snowflake. It's in somewhere that we're not connecting all of that to that customer behavior. What we're saying is, and I think a lot of brands are guilty of this, we're saying, you bought a dress, you'd really like this belt, this shoe, and this bag.
Yeah, for sure. So look at the year ahead. What are you most excited about? Are there any major initiatives you have to improving or getting closer or building that next level of relationship with your
That's
customers?
exactly what I was talking about. This ability for us to use behavioral data, so outside of the store, is our really big opportunity. And one of the things that I've been here for 3 years, one of the things that attracted me to Anthropologie when I was sort of first approached about this job was the fact that the transactional data and the customer data is very clean. It's very well, there was no repair job that needed to be done. And I did a huge repair job at North Face, and it was fine, and it was a lot better after, but I spent the first probably 18 months I was there, pulling data in that was supposed to be in our CRM but wasn't in our CRM, and transaction data and loyalty data and all these things that weren't connected. And so coming into Anthropologie, the fact that again, we control all of our own distribution, we have all of our own customers, that data is really clean. What I'm excited about is this behavioral component of how do we learn from what customers are telling us and learn from kind of the behaviors that we want the customer to follow with. And you know, so a couple examples of that. And one of the things that we are sort of working pretty hard on for this year is moment in time, like moment in time type of product delivery, message delivery, and even content, inspiring content, not necessarily product content, and things around you bought a new house or you did a renovation, you're probably going to get new furniture. You got engaged or you're going to a wedding, you probably need something different from, you know, you got engaged, you probably need a wedding dress, you're going to a wedding, you need something a little bit fancier. You're going on vacation, either sun or snow. How do we take these moments in time and showcase the product that we have that's really relevant for that, as opposed to waiting for a customer to come to our website and then go to Anthropologie Weddings and then click on a gown to initiate our wedding dress marketing. And so how are we looking for picking up these outside signals? And then the second piece is on behavior. And you know, I think we have a huge opportunity to take offline behavior, but also sort of brand adjacent behavior and build profiles for this type of product that all of our insights data suggests our customers are buying it anyways. Our customers are buying New Balance sneakers, On Running, UGG boots. They're buying, oh, we got 5 minutes. They're buying, we'll leave some time for questions, but they're buying Good American and Mother jeans. They're not buying it from us. In some cases, because they simply don't know we sell it. And so starting to build this customer profile that's not just transaction, browse, cart behavior, but really more of a complete people like you who shop like you love this kind of stuff you've never looked at from us. And traditionally, we would never market it to you because you never looked at it. And that's the work that we want to do. That's like a millennial Gen X video. It's too long. It's like 120 seconds long. So it really should be cut into like 6 TikToks. But
can you use AI for that?
Yeah.
Splice it up for me?
Yes, for the next 7 days until TikTok goes away. So. Quick overview, then we'll do questions. What's that?
So did you want to recap the video? Then we'll.
No. The video. That video should speak for itself. Okay, so I've 3 prizes for 3 good questions. And so if your question is good, then someone in the back here will give you a prize from Anthropologie. No pressure.
We accept bribes.
Hi, my name's Susie from Publicis. First of all, big fan of not only Backroads Travel and Trek Travel, but also Anthropologie. So love your stuff. I think personalization is great and it's so helpful as a shopper, but also as a shopper, there's, I feel like, some drawbacks with it. So like, for example, I'm on Anthropologie or Zara or Nordstrom, and I'm searching for black miniskirt. And I scroll down, and I like the one that I see first, and then I click on it and I scroll down. Instead of seeing other black miniskirts on the website, I see items that it thinks will also go well with a black miniskirt. But I'm like, but that's not what I'm shopping for. I want my black miniskirt. How do you ensure that you don't get caught up in the over personalization in taking away from the customer experience?
Yeah, I think that's a hard challenge, right? Like the challenge is different people are looking for different product, and one of the things that we're working on as we evolve our product recommendation engine is to better understand if you're looking for a little black dress and you look at 3 different, that was a good question, so you get a candle. If you're looking for little black dresses and we recognize that you're on your 3rd black dress of the session or of the week, that we can start to recommend, as opposed to complementary products, we can recommend substitute products. The other challenge that we've been working on is how do we elevate that product within that product recommendation that applies to your shopping behavior. And so this kind of all goes back to how we're trying to build this customer profile that's beyond you bought A. We think, you know, people who bought A also bought B, C, and D, and look at your behavior suggests this is the type of product that you would like, and therefore it's more like customers who looked at this product and have all this information that your age, where do you live, like what did you buy last time you came to Anthropologie, we can start to more personalize those recommendations. Because today, and this is not a huge criticism, but most recommendations are based on product shopping behavior from people who bought product A, also bought B, C, and D. And maybe there's a tiny bit of localization, but we found that there's massive variations in color preference, product preference, and even outfitting preferences depending on where you live.
So when you think about your roadmap for hyper-personalization for this year, I wonder what's the most ambitious part of it that maybe you didn't want to get to? Are you thinking about tokenization? Are you thinking about conversational commerce? And another piece of that, are you also dealing with the puzzle of, yes, you can play with a bunch of different things and hold on to the ones that work, but ending up with 30 different solutions doesn't help either, right? So some things might have to be builds, in-house builds. How do you tackle that with your team?
So without like giving away too much of our strategy for next year, what I see as our biggest opportunity is increasing customer frequency. And it's increasing customer frequency, and I think I said this earlier, but by getting customers to buy things from us they're already buying. So there's no marketing trickery. We're not trying to get you to buy something you can't afford. We're not trying to get you in for like your 4th or 5th dress sneaker of the year if that's not what you need. What we really want is to have a bigger share of your closet. And we want to have a bigger share of your closet because we feel pretty confident that a customer that's shopping with Anthropologie 4, 5, 6 times per year already is shopping with us because they like our style, because they like the uniqueness of the product, and they like the ability to take Anthropologie and really make that outfit their own. Our opportunity for increasing frequency is just to get you in for more of these opportunities. So as we think about kind of personalization heading into the new year, one, it's discovery. How do we show you getaway, fitness, sneakers, denim, swim, things that you're not buying from us, but that fit your lifestyle? So how do we understand more of your lifestyle to do that? And then secondly, how do we reinforce what you love from us, right? It's not just new categories. If you're a 3-dress-a-year buyer, we'd love you to buy 3 dresses next year. But the idea is, how do we start to use this additional sort of non-usage data today with Anthropologie to build this customer profile so we can do aided discovery? Because we know when we put that product in the store, it sells. So we can't put every product in the store. We can't put every product on the homepage. So it's very much around, if we understand a customer better, we feel like we can help you discover more unique styles that will kind of fit your lifestyle.
Hi. I moderated a panel yesterday with a guy who said something very interesting. He was talking about all the focus of data is to find customers who do the things you want them to do and then concentrate on those people who do. I'm curious, he said we need to focus more on the ones who don't come back, the mistakes we make, the bad communication. And I'm curious if you look at that. Obviously, you're looking at the ones who convert and become regular customers. Do you ever look at why a message doesn't work or doesn't resonate? And can AI help you figure that out?
I mean, sure. Like there are, most brands will say we have good, better, best customers. What they don't like to say is we have bad customers, right? Like but there are customers, we have bad customers. I mean, we have, when we line our customers up by 12 months spend, our decile 10, we lose money on because they essentially buy somewhere in the like $200 million a year worth of product and return $190 million worth of product. So we shipped it to them for free and then they returned it and we lost money. And I'm not saying they're bad people. Like, that's not bad people. They just might not be great customers. And I think for a long time there was this drive for growth through acquisition. Like you must continue to grow new customers to grow your business. We feel really good now about the percentage of our customers that are new every year. And we want to continue to grow that number, right? Our goal next year is to grow as a business. And if we had, 1.5 million new customers this year, we probably want 1.6 or 7 million next year. But our goal is not to to drive new customer growth at the expense of the customers that are already shopping with us. So really balancing that, like, how do we continue to grow with our best customers? We can't please everyone all the time. So I think, to your question, yes, when a campaign doesn't work as well as we thought it was, we will go back and look at, like, why did customers not buy it? We will look at the feedback on that. Was it a product? Was it a style? Was it simply customers didn't see enough of it? But when we think about growth, it's a lot easier to get a customer who shops 10 times a year to shop 11 than a customer who shops once to shop twice. And so in kind of a world of finite marketing dollars, we feel pretty good about kind of our mix of new customers, returning customers, and then focus on re-engaging the customers that look like they have the potential to be better. And so, and I when I say that, I always get someone who follows up and goes, well, one of your customers that hasn't shopped in a while could be on the cusp of spending $5,000 on a couch. I go, I know, but there's part of that is the prioritization of what presents the best opportunity. And so for us, like, not constantly chasing new customer growth has been very liberating because it allows us to do more work on this existing customer. And it would be great if we could get our best customers to shop 10 or 12 times a year with us instead of 6 to 8. Okay.
Sorry, last one.
I don't think we have any more prizes though. So
that's okay. I'm still a fan. Hi. My friend group and I, we love Anthropologie for gifting, especially. And I find that really fascinating because you talk a lot about building a profile of a person. But if they're using Anthropologie for gifting, it's not necessarily their profile. It's the people who they love. And I know that your site does a really great job of, like, putting people into almost boxes, right? Like the person who loves travel, the person who loves aesthetic. I was just curious, are there ways to expand beyond those boxes in building a profile or showcasing connection between people that just, like, haven't been done before? I don't know if this is, like, a very hard question.
That's an awesome question, and actually that's a body of work we did this past year. So we did a big exercise on building out customer profiles, right? And I think we had 10 of them, and it would be kind of what you would expect: the gift buyer profile, the formal dress fancy occasion buyer, the casual apparel buyer, the small decor buyer, the furniture buyer, and so we categorized, again, 10 million customers in our database against these 10 different profiles, and everyone got a score. And what we realized was that when we started to use them, you actually could fit in more than one profile. But it was built initially as kind of a 1 or a 0. So you might be Higgy at home because you buy, like, mid-century modern furniture from us, and that's your primary shopping. But your secondary profile might be gift buying because you buy a present for your mom and a present for your wife and a present for your daughter every year, but we've classified you as a furniture buyer. And so we went back and we retooled the whole profile to give people scores now. And so now we can look at those scores and say, high, medium, and low, or not enough information. And you may score really high on the furniture buying profile, but we're not going to advertise or promote furniture to you all year long. If you've got a secondary score that's around accessories or a tertiary score around gifting, then we'll start to layer those in. And so that's really changed the way we sort of thought about our customer profile, because it would be awesome if all of our customers had high scores in 2 or 3 different categories and didn't just get a 1 or a 0 next to their name across the profile. So yeah, and now that's a great example of where AI can help us to retune that on a much more regular basis, because every time we get more information, it's going to change your potential profile.
Great. All right. I want to thank Ian and Sean for an enlightening and enriching conversation. Thank you guys so much. Great.